Hey guys, today I'm going to show you one of the most despicable builds in all of League of Legends. Now you might be wondering what this build is, considering that there's plenty of League videos that are just going to say full AP one shot, still to this day in 2024, like these videos aren't outdated. Now it's not Shaco support or even Warwick top, we're going to be playing LeBlanc in the support lane, which is just bot lane. Now once you get into champ select, we're not going to hover LeBlanc and we're going to ban whoever we like to ban. In my case, it's always going to be Fizz because that champ's fucking disgusting. Fizz is the bane of my existence with his stupid ass passive that just gives him damage reduction based on percentage of his total AP. What a fucking disgusting champ for pigs. Besides that, once we can lock in support, we're going to instantly lock LeBlanc so that no one else can get her. Once that happens, you're just going to mute everyone in your chat so that no one can flame you. And then you're going to make sure for your runes you go electrocute, sudden impact for that little bit of magic pen, and you're gonna go 6th sense, simply because this is like the scrub rune. If you ever miss a ward, you're going to instantly be notified, and once you hit level 9 you're going to be able to take down that ward. It's a lot more consistent than the other two options. And then we're going to go Relentless Hunter, so that we can roam even more after each kill, because you're not going to be spending much of your time bot lane, unless you have a really good ADC. Now, once in game, we are going to instantly mute our teammates because I don't think your teammates are going to want to talk to you once you lock this in. Besides that, once laning phase starts, we're going to shove the lane. We got to get level 3 as quick as possible so that we can get out of bot lane. One thing you can do to quickly annoy the enemy team is just W auto W, and that should proc electrocute. Now, if you do this enough times, you might get the enemy support to just hard focus you. And in that case you won the lane. Good job. A good thing about LeBlanc is your passive, meaning that you can just always have a mix up once you're low health. This can create space for your EDC if you're trying to stay bot lane. Outside of that, it's really just your only getaway tool. Once you hit level 3, we're going to roam mid, or we're just going to go help the jungler. Now for the rest of the game, you are just going to secure kills. Don't even worry about anything else at this point. LeBlanc's damage output with the support build is just as high as her mid lane build. Now, I didn't do all the nerdy numbers, but there was a point I was 3 levels down and was able to do 50% of someone's health with QWR. Now, since you have so much mobility, you want to use that mobility to harass anyone in any lane. Your build path is going to be rushing a Hextech Alternator just as if you were mid. The damage bonus you get just for hitting one spell is huge, and this can lead to easy kills early game. Your main build path is going to be Ludens into Storm Surge into tier 2 boots. At any point you can buy a tier 1 boots and a Dark Seal, and once you get 10 stacks you want to immediately buy a Magi's Soul Stealer. Since you're in the support role, you're very likely to get assist all the time, and for each kill you're going to get 1 to 2 stacks, so why not? Once we go into the mid game after first turret is taken, we're going to spend most of our time looking for the enemy ADC. Now you might be wondering why we're doing that, but with the power of the support item and the Zizak, or the damage support item that most people call it, you will then be able to have the ability to one-shot pretty much any squishy in the game just by doing your QWR combo. You're always going to be a threat because your AP ratios are so good, and with this item, you don't really lose on damage despite being in the support role and lacking gold. Mid game is going to be about tempo. You're pretty much going to be running around with your jungler and mid laner looking for picks or trying to get objectives. Feats of strength can really win games, especially if you're against a team full of AD. Armored Advance is an incredibly strong tier 3 boot, and if you can get that for your top and mid laners, that can win the game itself. Now I know that the Mage and Berserker Greaves versions of the tier 3 boots aren't that good, but I mean the stats speak for themselves, so even if it's not gold efficient, you might get some benefit out of it. Now you might be wondering, whatever happened to that ADC that we left behind? Well, if your ADC is actually a competent player, they should have some sort of gold and level lead. Now, what might suck is sometimes they may give first turret, but sometimes that's worth it in the end. You want to put all that pressure on the rest of the map so that you can get a gold lead everywhere else. I mean, hey, like, even if an ADC gets some gold lead, they still get one shot with the enemy mid laner, so who cares? By this point, your team should have secured feats of strength, allowing your front line to now be even tankier. So now you have no worries that they're going to survive any team fights, and that you can go in and one-shot the back line. This is the main gimmick of playing LeBlanc support. is that really you just give up bot lane so that you can just annoy everyone else on the map. I mean, by the time late game comes, everyone's just going to want to kill you because they're just so pissed at this point. I mean, the amount of spam pings on the enemy team, you don't even want to see it. Obligatory reminder to like and subscribe and share the vid with your friends. Like every other YouTuber says, if I do not say this, it's probably going to make this video get less views, so any likes and views and subs would be appreciated. Thank you. Late game should be an easy snowball fest for not just you, but your ADC and the rest of your team. At this point, the game's pretty much won. It's just putting more pressure to get your mage eye stacks up to where you can now one-shot the mid laner and maybe even the jungler. The greatest part about LeBlanc is that she's still a mage for mid lane, meaning that even though she has support gold, she still does a lot of damage. Now, since you have a very clear lead, you can unmute your team and then ask the enemy team if they're going to install Dota 2 at the end of today. If you're having trouble playing LeBlanc, first off, don't pick this if you're having any trouble at all playing LeBlanc, because you're griefing at that point. Ban Milio so that you can actually do damage in lane. And into hook supports, you're just going to want to sit in a bush and either QW the hook champ because they have slow auto attacks, so you actually have time to land your combos before they can auto you back, or in a lane where you're against a Lux, Nico, or any catcher mage support. Just dodge the skill shot and get better. Your support, so you don't have to farm. So just spend all your time repositioning to get your electrocute procs off. Now, to the people that actually play support, you might be wondering why you should pick LeBlanc over Lux, Morgana, and any other support that can do damage in the bot lane. The simple answer is LeBlanc can actually roam well. And when I say roam well, I mean still be able to get kills and have self-survivability if they get caught out by the enemy jungler. The main issue with a lot of these other supports is you're always susceptible to getting poked or ganked by the enemy jungler. Now, I know if you play enchanter supports, you're not really going to want to play LeBlanc, and in that case, that's good for you. You play enchanters, so I would stick to playing enchanters anyway. I mean, you're offering heals and shields to your team instead of just full damage, but you're definitely going to suck at roaming, so don't expect to be roaming on a enchanter if you end up locking that in instead of LeBlanc. And I just don't play tank support, so I have no advice for you in that end. If you're looking for good matchups when to pick this in, if you're going to lock this in more often, I would definitely lock this in into Zyra, Xerath, and other poke supports. Since they're not going to be able to deal with your blink mechanics and it's going to be a mix-up on them whether or not you go back to your W or not, it gives you a lot of time to just get damage off and poke them out of lane and having them recall consistently. This can make space for your ADC until you want to roam. For bad matchups, I would say Morgana and Lux. Lux can easily just snare you out of nowhere, and Morgana can black shield the enemy AD carry to ignore your poke. There's not too many hard counters for LeBlanc since you can always W back to your previous position, and if you're actually thinking about where you're at when you do it, you shouldn't really be getting poked at all. The only thing I would worry about is playing against Caitlyn, since the traps can trap you mid-dash. Outside of that, you should be perfectly fine in any other ADC because your burst is way too high, and most likely your ADC is going to follow up with you if you do go in for them first. But again, you should roam and not be stuck bot lane. That's just a double kill waiting to happen since you have no MR and no armor and 0 health as LeBlanc. You are damage, and you want to get as much damage as quickly as possible. It's kind of a waste of time to sit in bot lane at that point, so get to roam in and get to winning as many games as possible before you get reported. Now, I would try to lock this in as many times as possible before her rework comes out. I know it's coming out very soon, and around the time this comes out, I would not be surprised if they just give her a bunch of buffs similar to Victor. I mean, it's very common at this point. If you're getting a VGU, you're just going to be buffed, and I don't know the extent of the buffs they're going to give her. They could give her enough buffs to go back to mid lane, and if that's the case, this guide will be outdated in less than a week. Now, you might ask me, well, what about the win rate? I don't play characters below a 45% win rate. Well, LeBlanc support currently is sitting at a 46 to 51% win rate in Masters. So this is definitely not just a troll off meta pick. This is actually a really good pick. So if you want to win games and annoy the fuck out of your opponents at the same time, I would lock this in. It's the equivalent of locking in Akali back when she could tower dive you with her W. So, get to winning games. Besides that, have a good day and good luck not getting reported. This video was inspired by Jenkins, and besides that, take care.